Chance to listen to David Prismich from DPAC about how to find contracting opportunities in Cali Procure, which is a great site, has a lot of staff in it. But Caltrans has other sites where we advertise projects. Some noise. So, so we're going to present to you something for construction contractors specifically. So one of the things we realized in Caltrans is that small businesses, especially construction contractors, sometimes have a difficulty finding out where we advertise our construction projects. And Cali Procure, which was presented here by David Prismich, has a lot of that stuff in it. In fact, it has a majority, if not all, of the contracts. But what we created, going to what Caltrans is a people-first organization, is to listen to what you need, and then we create programs and projects around it. So we created a website here that's called the Caltrans Contracting Opportunities Portal. This website is an aggregation site, so to say. So it finds out all contracting opportunities in Caltrans, where Caltrans advertises. What do I mean by that? Any project in Caltrans that requires a contractor's license will be on this site. And it puts it in one space and kind of arranges it geographically, and I'll show you real quickly how that works, and it gives you a chance to search for them. Once you identify that opportunity, then you can seamlessly click on it, and it redirects you to the original source where all the contract documents will be located. So you heard about Cali Procure. Cali Procure is the California State Contractors Register. I forgot to introduce my Bonnie Nyaga from Caltrans Director's Office, and that's why I'm here. So Cali Procure has a lot of projects. It has all the minor A's and minor B's. So it has jobs that are from $5,000 to a few $1 billion, the big construction projects. So ladies and gentlemen, we're only talking about construction projects here. Inside Cali Procure is another subset of projects that are advertised in Caltrans Contractors Corner. Caltrans Contractors Corner will have the larger projects like the majors, projects over $1 million, and the minor A's, projects from 461 to 1.25 million. You heard David talk about minor B's. Minor B's are those projects that are maxed at 461,000. Very good fit for small businesses. We have construction manager general contractor, CMGCs. It's kind of a good value, best value, negotiated. I won't get into the weeds. It's a contract delivery method that we're using in a very limited scope in Caltrans. Those projects tend to be really large. Those projects will be in Cali Procure. They're not in Contractors Corner. Again, they require a contractor's license. We have architectural and engineering opportunities in Cali Procure. We have service contracts and non-IT projects. Now, while Cali Procure seems to have everything in it, it doesn't have it in enough detail. We do have another subset of projects which are called the emergency contracts. David Prismich spoke about that briefly. These are projects that we execute in the event of an emergency that's defined by law. What constitutes an emergency? We have district director's orders. Those district director's orders are emergency contracts up to the minor B limit, 461,000. Director's orders can be larger than the 461,000. And then we have emergency limited bid. All of those contracts are paid on time and material, except the emergency limited bid. And the emergency contracts, and you will not find them in Cali Procure nor in Contractors Corner. So what we've done is we've created a site. You can go to the next slide. We've created this website that's called the Caltrans Contracting Opportunities Portal. That's how it looks as you see it on the left-hand side there. This site is not there to replace Contractors Corner or Cali Procure. All it does is it collects all contracts that require a contractor's license and make it easy for you to find them. So it's a centralized access or consolidating information for construction contractors. Make it a little bit user-friendly. So we have a map on the right-hand side, and I'll go to the site right now real quick, and we have text on the left for those who like text. And you can use those two to select where you want to find construction contract opportunities. We group them by geographic location. You can search by district, Caltrans district. You can search by contractor's license, and I'll talk a little bit about that. You can search by keywords in the project description. And I'll give you a disclaimer about that one too, or you can search by county. If you're looking for a job in San Diego, for example, you can just enter San Diego and jobs in San Diego will pop up. Now, as you can see on that, it is all arranged from District 1 through District 12. That's the 12 Caltrans districts. And then there is other non-specific districts. Why is that important? There is a headquarters division right now that has a contract to move electrical outlets from this wall to that wall for $5,000, requiring an electrical contract, the contractor's license. That contract will be in Cali Procure and will be on this side, as long as it requires a contractor's license. Let's talk a little bit about the search functionality. When I talk about contractor's license, you have to be very careful about that. Any website you will see in Caltrans, Cali Procure, Contractor's Corner, and says contractor's license required, and it lists a contractor's license, that license is only for a majority of the work. It is not all the construction contractor licenses that are required. And that is why it is important that you go into the contract documents and see if any of your scope is covered in there. And I'll give you an example. Potholing to identify utilities. We don't have a bid item for that. We don't have a specific bid item for it. So what you need to do is, for example, if you are a trucking company or if you are an electrical company, you need to go into the contract documents and look for any of the scope that is electrical work by looking at either the specs or the plans and doing that takeoff and then using that to identify the scope that is covered. But don't rely on the contractor's license. 100% of the time, 99, let me say 99, Class A license will always be required in these contracts. Sometimes you will see Class A and B if it has some building aspect. Then you will see a lot of times it will be Class A and a combination of C licenses. Don't stop there. It doesn't mean that only those C licenses can perform on that contract. There's more to it. So let me take you live to the website very quickly here and demonstrate what we're talking about. So the website is go there. That's okay. I can explain it from the slide. So, to put it in perspective, what happens when you go into Cali Procure, for example? You're a small business. You're an electrical contractor in Eureka. You want to find an electrical job in Caltrans. You go to Cali Procure. I just checked a few minutes ago, and the first contract that I saw was provide dance shows for prisoners. Valid contract, good contract, but there's a lot of stuff in there. The purpose of this site is to filter all that information and only provide you contracts that are for construction contractors. That's what this site does. The other thing you will see with, and why I tell you it is not a replacement of Caltrans Contractors Corner, and Aaron here will talk a little bit more about Caltrans Contractors Corner, is that you have tools inside Caltrans, Cali Procure, and Contractors Corner that you can use, and I'll touch those briefly. For example, in Cali Procure, you can go in. Once you identify the opportunity and it takes you to it, you can open your Cali Procure account, and you can determine the UNSPSC codes that are for that opportunity that you've identified, and you can sign up in Cali Procure to be notified when those opportunities come up in Cali Procure. In Contractors Corner, one of the things I wanted to highlight here for small businesses, disadvantaged business enterprises, disabled veteran business enterprises, is when you see a contract that's millions of dollars, sometimes you think there is nothing for you in there. And I had somebody asking, how do we know who are the plan holders? And Aaron will show you that. There is a list of plan holders in there, but one of the things I really wanted to point out is the ability to opt in. You can go in and for a specific opportunity and state that I am a small business, I have this certification, and this is my scope of work that I can perform. I am opting in and presenting myself as ready and willing to be a subcontractor to the many primes who will be there. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I am going to be brief. My job was just to show you about this amalgamation site. It's available in the Caltrans homepage, dot.ca.gov or ccop.dot.ca.gov. There's a QR code. Go look, play around with it, look for opportunities. And let me welcome my partner here, Aaron Morgan from North Region, to present Contractors Corner.
Thank you, Bonnie, and thank you all for being here. For anybody who has the agenda, can everybody hear me okay in the back? Okay. I apologize for the mask. I'm getting over a bug, but, you know, as you can see, I'm coming from Eureka, as Bonnie mentioned. I drove quite a ways to be here, and I really didn't want to leave you guys in a lurch because this is really important information. The Contracting Opportunities Portal, as he mentioned, it does not replace the Contractors Corner or Cali Procure, but for those of you in Public Works who have interest in both platforms, but who are looking for some convenience in tracking both of those platforms and the opportunities on both, it is an invaluable resource. So, like I was mentioning, my name is Aaron Morgan. I am a small business liaison for District 1, which is to say I am a advocate, I am a technical resource, I am your go-to person if you are wanting to work on the North Coast in California. But if you also want to work in the North Region or just with Caltrans in general, I am your man. So to get to Contractors Corner, and really what I'm going to be focusing on with Contractors Corner, because it is really kind of, the way to think of it is as your one-stop shop if you are interested in working as a contractor, as a prime, as a sub in Public Works on one of those majors or minor A's. This is the place you need to go to look and understand how to go about that in an efficient and competent way. And yes, please. Yes, and so I should be clear about that. I'm talking to our construction contractors folks, the folks who are looking to work on those public works opportunities valued at over $461,000. I see you looking to pack up. Yes, and for those, I want to be clear. If you are interested in other opportunities, I am a resource to you as well. And if you would like to follow up with me, I am going to have a slide at the end. And if you want to have my business card, I will just, yeah. I'll leave a few of those right up here. I would love to follow up with you separately, but in the interest of getting us caught up and back on schedule, I'm trying to move things along. It all starts with going to the Department of Transportation's website, Caltrans, dot.ca.gov. Hopefully this will look familiar to folks. And there's a lot of really good information, but where you are going to start is going to this Work with Caltrans section on the top of the main menu ribbon. And from here, there's a couple of places that you want to make note of. Again, the things that we're focusing on for this section are the minor A's, which are, again, those projects valued between $461,000 and $1.25 million, and major projects, which are going to be valued over $1.25 million. And it's a very unassuming logo. I'm actually probably blocking it for those in the back, but it's right down here at the bottom. If you click on that, that's going to take you to this page that's going to contain a whole bunch of disclaimers. I actually pulled this a couple days ago, and it's got all of these important updates that get posted periodically whenever there is an important update that we need to let our contracting community know about. Do you have a question?
I don't want to slow you down, but a really quick question.
Yeah, please.
So that last presentation was super informative. It seemed like as the caboose, the very tail end kind of is now leading to where we are with you. For those of us that aren't contractors, as in you have a backhoe and we're, but we work for the contractors, we're a different type of contractor.
Yes.
Do I just want to get your card and we connect later? Or will any part of this be kind of reverse engineering? We're not contractors, but we're looking for contractors.
Yes, for those who do not have a direct relationship with Caltrans, there is going to be some stuff that is germane to you at the tail end of this, so please stick around. So this is the front page of Contractors Corner. We're going to get into the meat of it here in just a little bit. But the thing you want to keep in mind with this is that if there is information and updates posted at the top of Contractors Corner, I always encourage people to at least give this a cursory glance, maybe visit some of these links that are posted, because it could be important, like the addenda that we're going to be looking at later on specific contracting opportunities that get posted, to always review those, because those could have implications for the things that you're seeing elsewhere on the site. Now, the other thing that I want to make mention of is that to really get the most out of this website, you're going to want to create what is called a Caltrans Bidding Connect account. It's a very straightforward process. You're going to, once you are in the Contractors Corner section, you're going to go up here, click this section, which will take you to this login page. If you don't have an account, you're going to click over here, which will take you to something like this. If anybody is online, they are probably familiar with this kind of format. You're going to plug in all of your information like you would if you were creating an account on any kind of other website. And very important, and there's a big old arrow right there, I want to really stress that people need to, if you are certified as a small business, a disabled veteran business, a disadvantaged business, one of those certifications that our department recognizes and has goals for, be sure to check those for your account. That's going to come up later. Now, this is where we're going to start getting into kind of the anatomy of what Caltrans Contractors Corner looks like. And I'm just going to kind of touch over this top section really quickly. I could spend, no kidding, probably 90 to 120 minutes talking about all of the functionality of this website, because just in the general information section alone, you have links to things like the contractor interest registry. If you are interested in those things like the EFAs and ELBs that Bonnie was referring to, those emergency projects that come up, the way that you're going to get notice about those is by signing up and expressing interest via this registry. If you want to look into our contract standards and specifications, those are also going to be found under the general information section. If you want to know more about the Minor B program, which is, again, a really good way to get your foot in the door, build capacity, build experience. If you're looking to jump lanes and go from being the subcontractor into the prime role, very dramatic music. That's a really good way and a good program to explore doing that. If you are looking to get more information about payment terms and about whether an invoice has been received, if a payment has been issued on it, there is a portal that you can go and do that. If you want to learn more about some of those alternate contracting methods that the department employs, such as CMGC and JOC, information about those programs is also found here under the general information section. I'm not going to belabor it anymore, but just know that those are on the general information page. This is where we're going to spend the rest of our time this morning. And again, I'm going through this pretty quickly because I'm trying to get us caught up. But the thing that I want you to take away from this slide is the fact that from this advertisement section, you can look at either the 24-month look-ahead report, which, like the A&E equivalent, is going to give you a 2-year projection of all of the work that is coming down the pipeline, where it is taking place, project estimates for how much is going to be valued for those, different estimates for the amounts of materials and the scopes of work for those. The other thing that you need to be aware of is that, like with the opportunities portal that Bonnie mentioned, there are multiple ways to get to the information that you are looking for. And whether that is you are looking for projects based on geographic designation, based on the district, the county, if you want to search by line item, say that you know the work codes you're looking to work under, or if you are looking based on your contractor state license. If you have an A license and you are only looking for projects under that, or if you are one of those subs who are wanting to understand what projects are looking for concrete under C8, I think that's what concrete is, you can do that searching under here. This is just giving a little more example about what that might look like. Again, if you click into this section and expand it down, you can go down here to the all advertised projects section and actually jump to a specific project. And based upon that 2-digit prefix, that'll key you into wherever the work is taking place. So for instance, District 1, my district, way up there on the north, you can know that all of the projects with that 2-digit prefix are going to be taking place somewhere in Humboldt, Del Norte, Lake, or Mendocino. So it's really, if you don't understand what I mean by that, if you haven't kind of gotten familiar with the way that our department has broken up the state into 12 geographic districts, I would highly encourage you to maybe take a look at that and start to understand what we're talking about in that vein. Also, some additional information about those work item codes. If we click into that section, it's going to take you to an interface that looks something like this. And through there, you can either search based on that Caltrans item work code. If you know the code or a partial, you can search that way. Or you can just plug in a layman's term. I plugged in steel and got, just the other day, 41 different opportunities that have steel somewhere on a line in the different scope. Or here, as an example, oh sweet, I was right. So if I had a concrete license, if I had a C8, I could go to the project license search page. It's going to pull up an interface like this, and you can check whichever of the licenses you possess, hit the search button, and it's going to pull up all of the opportunities that are going to be relevant and have a requirement for that specific contractor's license that you should be looking into. So once you've found an opportunity that is going to be relevant to your business, this is what it's going to look like. And I kind of broken down the anatomy of what you should be looking at and some of the key considerations. Obviously, as David Prismich was mentioning, these are opened publicly, and this is the bid opening date. I believe they're typically opened at 2 in the afternoon, but it'll always be included, that specific date, the cutoff, in the bidder information package. So always refer back to the contract bid information package for those specifics. The detail of where the job site is and where the project is to be completed will be listed on this site as well. A kind of brief description of the work to be done at that job site. The engineer's cost estimate preparation will also be concluded here, so basically everything minus your markup. If there is a goal, whether that be DBE or DVBE, that's going to be noted here in that lower section, as well as a list of the working days. This is also a really good way, if you are interested in this sort of thing, of quickly understanding the funding source for this. So at a glance, because this has a DBE goal, that keys me into understanding that this is a federally funded project, at least partially or fully. So if you see that it has a DVBE goal, that'll tell you that it's fully state funded. Just interesting little bit of trivia. And then up here are the hyperlinks, things like the list of bid items, which again, that's going to be the list of all of the relevant work items in that scope. Everything from developing a lead abatement plan all the way to mobilization at the very end. And then here, very bold, very noticeable, if there is a mandatory pre-bid meeting, that's going to be noted here as well. And you should always make a note of that and be sure to attend, because one, even if you're a sub and it's not mandatory for you, it's a good networking opportunity for you to get on the radar of prime contractors who are looking at the work of those plan holders. Foreshadowing. So getting into this, if you want to interact with this ad a little bit more, talking about those plans, talking about those files that are going to be important for the bidding process, you can actually click on this link over here. Again, really important for you to be logged in to access this functionality, but once you are, you can go to this download files link, check any of the documents you want to obtain, and then just download these as a zip file. And should you have any questions about the scope or any concerns, things that you'd like to get some clarification on from the department, you can absolutely do so. And the way that we do that is through the bidder inquiry process. That's gone through this link up here at the top, and it is unique to every single project. You're going to click into there and it'll take you to this project specific page where, again, you will need to be signed in. You'll be able to submit your inquiry, and within a few days, typically, you'll receive a response from the contract manager, the project engineer, or whoever is going to be responsive to that particular item in question. And again, the goal of this is to make sure that all parties who are interested in it and who are going to be responsive have access to the same information. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if there is an addenda, this very red, very noticeable link, be sure to click into that, be sure to read those, because it could have very dramatic implications for your bid, for your submittal. Be sure to always review it. So, this I think is what people were asking about. If you are a sub who is looking to interact with this process, looking for a prime partner, think of these two sections as the classified ads for a specific project. So if you are looking at this and going, you know, this is a pretty decent project, this is way outside of my business's capacity, this is out, and the scope is a little bit larger than what we really do, but there's a part of this that we really love to do. You can click on this link and it's going to take you to this page and show you who the plan holders are for this project. And not only is it going to show you the plan holders, it's going to tell you often what specific bid items. The primes that we have are really good at filling these out and telling you in very specific details what exactly they are looking for. And my recommendation, if you're savvy with computers, is actually Control F, search for words that you're looking for in layman's terms. You'll typically pull up what you're looking for based on that search. And you'll be able to very quickly determine which of these 10 plan holders is looking to partner with somebody like yourself.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, please, Bonnie.
Just wanted to add some. So there's two things in there. See bidding plan holders at the bottom, that link. That's all the people who have collected the plans. The 10 are prime contractors who are actually looking for subs. And that's the difference. So that is a very good tool, and I think you will talk about the opt-in.
Yes, we were
very
just about to get
briefly.
into that.
So just make that distinction. I really encourage you, if you're a small business, get their contact, give them a call.
Absolutely. And speak of the devil, there's opting in. So on the flip side, so if you are wanting to be very aggressive, very active, you can find out who is looking to bid and reach out to them. If you are wanting to be a little more passive in that role, you can also just put your interest out there and see who may be looking themselves. You can go back here, you can click into this section, the opt-in, and by clicking on that, you can actually fill in this field. Always be sure to fill in this field with similar information, letting them know who you are, some background about your business. You don't need to give them your entire life story, but give them enough information to know who you are and what your interest is. You can list off specific line items. That's always a good way to key them in, to let them know that you've looked at the scope of work, that you've actually reviewed the material. And then you can submit it and it'll be posted just as their ads get posted. In fact, there's 26 people who've already done so. In addition to this functionality, which is really kind of the main focus of what I wanted to talk about today, there's a little bit of other stuff that Contractors Corner does. I shouldn't say a little bit, there's a lot. But some other stuff that I think would be of interest to folks. I know there was some mention in the previous session about, if I want to know about previous bids, how my competition bid something, you can do that for stuff that's posted to Contractors Corner by going to the awards section of Contractors Corner. And you can search for, awarded contracts who won an award in the first place. You can also search for past bid results or for the specific post-bid files and really kind of dig down into the documentation to understand what people are submitting and how they're submitting it. And so I realize I gave you kind of the speed run version of this. Like I said, I gave you something in 15 minutes that I could spend probably 2 or 3 hours really diving into. And to that end, I wanted to offer up my extended invitation to come talk with me. And whether that means come coming and meeting with me at table 57. I'm going to be there all day. If you want to email me, which you can do so at the District 1 Small Business email box, or you can scan that QR code right there, and we can schedule a meeting to meet one-on-one, talk about your specific business situation, interest in working with Caltrans. I would love to meet with you and really kind of dig into what help your business needs. It's literally my job. So I recognize we're way over time, but are there any questions that I can answer right now? All right, I'm not seeing any hands, so I'm going to take that as a good sign. So, oh, there's one.
The 10 contractors looking for help, or the C, right? How
Yes.
does it populate? I'm guessing if the bid is published, say in June 1st, and it has to be submitted by September or whatever. If you get on that website immediately, then no one signed up yet. Follow me? Seems like, how does that get populated? The 10 prime contractors?
The tens?
10
So-
primes looking for help.
Those 10 primes, so those are 10 prime contractors who have created an account on Contractors Corner and who have looked at this ad and who have said, we're interested in bidding this job. We are concerned about making sure that we meet that 20% DBE requirement, and we need to make sure that we have subcontractors who are going to help us meet that
So
goal.
I guess the general question would be, so if the bid comes out, if the request for proposal, whatever it's called, the bid notice comes out on January 1st, so for 4 months, I would have to imagine it would be wise for us not to get on it until the 3rd month. But the first day it gets published, like,
Correct.
it's gonna be 10
Yes.
projects right then.
The sooner the better,
Late in the
though,
game.
yes. As soon as you can advertise is gonna improve your chances. I don't think you would typically see something be advertised for that long on this website. But, yes, the sooner the better is always better, because again, you know, the sooner that you can get in contact, because really all this is doing is getting you on the radar of some of these primes, getting your foot in the door, making that connection so that you can start the process of, you know, providing them a scope letter, start the discussions of, you know, what is our partnering going to look like? Can I give you an estimate? And really starting to dial in the specifics of that. This is really just an introduction. That's the way to think of it.
I think in the scope of your question is the 10 who have presented and have asked for help. The best thing for you to do is to opt in. Because opt-in means that whoever comes in, even after you've been there, will know your interest and your performance. And that's one of the things we teach in the Caltrans Construction Mentor Project Program is, and this is with the help of the mentors, the big contractors who are the 10 who opted in, who present themselves, is what information should you have in there? Number one, remember to include your certification. Because most of the time, the reason they're looking for small subcontractors is because they want to meet their goal. So once they see you're a DBE, they're likely to pick you and contact you. Number two, have a way for them to reach you. And then number three, very briefly and very clearly, what is your scope? What do you perform? What kind of work do you do? Are you a supplier? That's all good. Are you, do you have an excavator? You can go and do some excavation for them or potholing. Make sure you describe that very briefly. And that way, you don't have to wait until they're 10 who've opted and go look for them. They will actually look for you. But it's still important to look at the 10 who've opted, and I can't stress this enough. Pick up the phone and call them. They put their information in there. So just call them, reach out to them.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it better to offer a product or a service, like to these primes? Are they looking for a service contractor, somebody that's really on the ground with them, or are they looking more for a product supplier? Is there a real preference, or is it hard to say?
They're looking mostly for subcontractors or suppliers.
yeah, suppliers, it would be totally valid to say that if you can help them meet their supply goals for materials that are gonna be used on these projects, absolutely reach out to them. And,
Which ones?
yeah, and again, you need to look at those bid items to really understand, you know, what is gonna be the area of interest.
Okay.
And if I can do a little bit more shameless self-promotion, I was saying we could talk for 90 minutes about this, and that's actually something that we're going to be doing. We're going to be partnering with Bonnie on the afternoon of March 4th for our North Region Contractors Boot Camp. It's a virtual event, and we're going to have a whole session where we're going to spend about an hour talking about Cali Procure, talking about Contractors Corner, and going through this material, but in a much more kind of slow, methodical way, in a much more digestible way. So if you'd like to learn more about that outreach and would like to attend that virtually, there is a flyer available at table 58 at the District 2 table. Please stop by. We'd love to see about getting you registered for that and have you join us. So, anything else?
The
Or-
other day, the president directed the federal government not to recognize the small, whatever the acronym is, SBI, DBA, whatever. Does that mean this is, Caltrans is exempt from that? Because that's federal departments?
I didn't
The other
catch.
day, the president directed, it was in the newspaper, right here, that he directed federal departments to no longer count DBE in their ability to vet bidders. Does Caltrans is exempt from that, or is, I heard someone say earlier that if there's $1 federal on one of these Caltrans programs, that Trump's new request to disregard all DBEs is now grossly effective.
I'll answer that question. Folks did talk about it today. The DB program is federal law, 49 CFR Act 26. As far as we're concerned, if a job has $1 of federal money, we're going to follow the DB program, and until the law changes, we're doing it.
Which means.
If the law changes, that's a whole different.
So
The
it sounds
law
like
is
it-
different though than
What is
verbiage
being said?
that's being communicated, so that's the distinction.
Yeah.
is It's a law
It is a law.
versus
It is not
a statement.
Yeah,
an executive order or anything.
yeah,
Until Congress changes it or the courts change it.
Then it will.
correct. This is not something that can be dismissed by fiat. The DBE program is not a DEI program. It has been enshrined for almost 40 years in the Code of Federal Regulations, and it can't just be unilaterally dismissed through an executive order.
Is it a congressional thing, so that the Wall Street Journal, that's one of the big factors, is the president can't undo Congress.
Uh,
You know that?
Correct.
I would say very simply, we'll follow the law. And the law right now, as it stands, is the DB program is to be followed, and there are very clear rules. And if we don't follow it, we will be in violation of the law. And we will not do that. And that's what the governor is saying, that's what the secretary said this morning, that's what we're going to do. Until that changes, we're going to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, great question, and thank you all so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your time.